Ooh-wee! Are you ready for the best damn gumbo ever? Well, here's my secret. So just hang tight and I'll tell you what it is. This makes you want to do a little dance. Hey everybody, welcome to Cooking with Sylv Mac, my cooking channel. And today we are going to make one of my all-time favorite dishes, gumbo. And it is my famous gumbo. And let me tell you my secret ingredient. We all know that making gumbo is all about the roux, correct? I know how to make a roux, but it does take a long time to do that roux. It's like 20 minutes of constant stirring. My secret ingredient that I'm gonna share with you right now is Zatarain Gumbo Base. I'm telling you, I've been making it with my gumbo with this now for at least the last 10 years, and everyone has raved about it. And you want the base, not the one that has the rice in it already. Just the base. I have to order this online in order to get it because I have not been able to find it in any stores. So if you see it, grab it. If not, then order it online. I have a plethora of ingredients that I use for my seafood gumbo. So now let's start with, of course, the Holy Trinity. And I've got a bell pepper, just one bell pepper chopped. I've got 2 stalks of celery chopped. I also added a little pepper in there, a little jalapeno pepper. And I've got 1 large onion chopped for the Holy Trinity. I also have some okra that I'm gonna cook up a little later to put in there. And that does it for the vegetables. Now, let's go over all of the meats. I like to have a variety of sausage, so I've got some Zatarain Cajun sausage. And I'm also going to add just probably 2 links of the Earl Campbell hot links. I love these, my husband does too. I also have about 4 skinless, boneless chicken thighs, and I'm gonna season those up. And I also have a ham steak that I'm gonna cook up as well. I've got about 1 pound of bay scallops. I've got about 9 scallops, 9 to 10 sea scallops. I have about 1 pound of clam meat that's already out of the shell. Roughly about 1 pound of crawfish tail meat. You can get this at Walmart in the freezer section, and they're already taken out and frozen. So I just rinse them off and put them in a cup. I have about 1 pound of shrimp. And I have the shrimp shells that I'm going to also use to make a stock. And of course, some crab legs. I got about maybe just 1 pound of crab legs. But let's go over the seasonings. So what I'm going to do is I season each protein with a different seasoning. So for example, I'm gonna use probably the Zatarain seasoning to do season my chicken with. I will use the Slap Yo Mama to season up probably some of the scallops. I will use a little Old Bay seasoning, and I will use that to probably season up the bay scallops. And I've got the Zatarain blackened seasoning, and I'm gonna use that to season up my shrimp with. At the end of the gumbo, of course, you wanna always have some gumbo filet, and then I will also add some bay leaves into the mix. But before we get started, you know we gotta grab that glass of wine, so grab your wine. And let's get to cooking, y'all. Okay, first thing is first, let's talk about the gumbo base. So, the package actually calls for 6 cups of water, and then you're gonna add also the base. And let me show you what that looks like. Can you see that? Just a powdery roux. So I'm only gonna add though 3 cups of water in here and plus the base. And that's because I'm going to be adding a lot to the gumbo pot, because every time I cook my meat, I'm going to pour that grease off and then deglaze the pan and then pour that cup of water in here. Okay, so now what I wanna do is I wanna start cooking the vegetables, and I'm gonna saute those, of course, using, of course, our olive oil. So you want to put like maybe a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil into a cast iron skillet. Now this is important. You want to either use cast iron or you want to use stainless steel. don't use the non-stick, because the non-stick doesn't really allow for you to get those brown bits, you know, that's going to be left in your pan. So use either stainless steel or cast iron. You can't really go wrong with cast iron. So now I'm gonna add my vegetables in there. And we will saute these. And of course, this is the Holy Trinity. Anybody that knows anything about Cajun or Creole cooking knows the Holy Trinity is onion, bell pepper, and celery. Now, one of the things too that is not in the Holy Trinity, and I forgot to actually add over there when I was explaining to you guys the vegetables, of course, is garlic. And I love garlic, so I'm probably gonna put about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic in there. I'm gonna put that in a little later though, because if you cook garlic too long, it burns and then it becomes bitter. So we're gonna just cook the proteins to begin with. And we've got the ham that's cooking now. And while the ham is cooking, I went on ahead and I seasoned up the chicken. And of course I seasoned the chicken with Zatarain's Creole seasoning. Gumbo is labor intensive. There's no way to get around it. If someone says that they have a quick, easy gumbo recipe, they're lying, or the gumbo's gonna be nasty. With the ham though, you wanna make sure that you're almost kind of like charring it. So let's turn it over. Yeah. So you can see it's burnt a little right there, and then if you can see inside the skillet has some of that goodness. Okay, so you can see the ham is done, nice and brown. So I'll take it off, just put it on a cutting board. And now I'm going to add just about a cup of water. This didn't have a whole lot of oil in it, so I didn't pour the oil off. But you want to scrape and get all of those bits, the brown stuff in there, and you can see that it's got that dark, nice, rich flavor. So you just keep doing this until you get, you know, not every bit, but a lot of the bits underneath it with a wooden spoon. And now you want to pour this into our pan. Turn off the heat first so you don't burn up yourself. All right, and now I'm gonna just rinse this off. And that is how you build flavor. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the chicken. Make sure you follow this process with each protein that you use. You're going to brown it, take them out of the pan, pour the oil off, deglaze the pan with a cup of water, and then you want to scrape all of those flavorful bits from the bottom of your pan. And now add that to your gumbo, which is flavor. And you're going to do this even with the okra. I did cut up the ham, and I like to leave the little bone in there as well because that's flavor. We're going to put that into the gumbo. And this is about maybe 5 chicken fillets, 5 fillets, no bone, no skin. Cut it up after cooking it. So that goes into the pot. Now let's just stir it around. Make sure it stays on low. Put the lid back on. And let's start talking seafood. So, with the crawfish meat, I normally don't cook this already because then they really cook down to like nothing. But the flavor's good. So I'm just gonna put those straight into the gumbo. I rinse them off and they're good to go. The same process applies to the seafood. Cook it, pour off the oil, deglaze the pan with a cup of water, and then get the bits and pour the goods into the gumbo. Here. But I'm making just a shrimp stock, and I'm gonna add that to the gumbo. And basically I've got shrimp shells in there, jalapeno, of course, you know I like it a little spicy, about half an onion, and then 1 stalk of celery. and some garlic, maybe about 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. But anyway, let this maybe reduce by almost half, because then that means that the flavor is really intense. The more that you let it reduce, the more flavor that it imparts. Once we're done with it though, we're just gonna get yourself a bowl or a container and a strainer. You're gonna pour that in there and then mash it down to make sure that you get all of that good juice out. And then you're gonna just pour it into your gumbo pot. And let this simmer. Probably, maybe about a teaspoon of time. And then give this a nice little stir. And let it simmer for a couple of hours. About 2-3 hours or so, on low. You have to keep it on low. If you don't, you will scorch the bottom of it and everything will be ruined. So cover it, and then we're gonna serve this with some rice. And then I will also put the crab legs in, probably like in about, in the last 30 minutes of cooking, because the crab legs are already cooked. And just press them one in there so that they can get that good gumbo flavor. Also, the shells from the crab legs are gonna also give it some more flavor. Okay, y'all, here's the best part. It's time to eat. Let's see. This makes me wanna do a little dance. Anyway, for this and all the rest of my recipes, please subscribe to my channel. And also like the videos, share the videos, and comment on them. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, everybody, cheers and good eating.